Welcome to Raw Online Teaching Program. So in Pediatric Oncology series, today's topic of discussion is on Retinoblastoma. Though it is a short topic, it has a very important points and most frequently asked in the NEET super specialty and also tendency to ask in the theory questions. So moving on to the retinoblastoma. So certain facts you should know about the retinoblastoma is, it is one of the most common intraocular tumor in children and it is also a most common inherited childhood tumor. So in case if you get an MCQ like which is the most common hereditary or inherited childhood tumor, then the answer is retinoblastoma. And if you see in Nelson it is given the median age at the time of diagnosis is 2 years. And almost 90% of the cases will be diagnosed within 5 years of age. So this age criteria you should remember. And in case if bilateral eyes are involved, bilateral involvement is involved, then it is more common in younger children, particularly less than 1 year of age. And that too they are almost, that is always heritable. So in case of hereditary, that is heritable tumors, the age of presentation is also less, that is less than 1 year, and it involves both eyes, that is bilateral involvement. So the risk of retinoblastoma per se is increased in children who conceived by in vitro fertilization. So this is again a MCQ point. So these are all the important points to be noted before going into retinoblastoma, which is the common inherited tumor and common intraocular tumor. Regarding the genetics of retinoblastoma, so if you see, again it is classified into hereditary and sporadic, right? So the percentage if you see, sporadic cases is almost 60% and 40% will be familial, they have a familial tendency. So if you see, the familial percentage is also equally high. That's why it is a common inherited tumor of childhood, that is retinoblastoma. Whereas if you see in other solid tumors like neuroblastoma and Wilms tumor, the sporadic incidence is much more, that is almost 98% are sporadic and only 1 to 2% cases are familial. But here the familial tendency is almost 40%. That is a point to be noted in retinoblastoma. And also if you see, in sporadic, they are mostly diagnosed when the child is in older age group, and they are also mostly unilateral and unifocal. So this is the sporadic nature. Whereas when it is a hereditary type, that is familial, they are younger age at the time of diagnosis, which involves both eyes, that is bilateral involvement, and there will be multifocal involvement. So these are all the pointers between hereditary and sporadic. And in hereditary, the gene involved is the retinoblastoma 1 gene, that is RB1 gene is involved, which is located on the chromosome long arm of chromosome, that is 13q14. So RB1 gene located on 13q protein. This RB1 gene actually, it is a tumor suppressor protein. It is basically a tumor suppressor protein. The main action of this tumor suppressor protein is on the cell cycle transition phase. So when the mutation occurs, this cell cycle transition phase get affected, and also it has a role on apoptosis and cell differentiation. So all these things will get affected because of the mutation of the retinoblastoma 1 gene, which is located on the chromosome 13q14. Basically it is a tumor suppressor protein which has a control over cell cycle transition phase, and also it has a control over apoptosis and cell differentiation. So mutation will result in a problem in these things. So this is regarding the familial retinoblastoma. And before going into the clinical manifestations, you should be knowing about the hypothesis which is been explained in the context of retinoblastoma, which is the Knutson's two-hit oncogenesis. That is, the formation of the retinoblastoma or the occurrence of the retinoblastoma is being explained by this Knutson's two-hit oncogenesis. So, the first hit is a germline. The first hit occurs through the germline mutation, where the loss of allele will occur in the germline mutation. Loss of allele occur in the RB1 gene, and this makes the situation or the environment predisposing to the cancer. So, it makes susceptible, makes it susceptible to retinoblastoma. So, make it predisposed to retinoblastoma is the first hit that occurs in the germline mutation on the RB1 gene. Followed by, this first hit is subsequently followed by the second hit that occurs in the somatic retinal cells. Okay. So, the second hit occurs in the somatic retinal cells, and following this second hit in the somatic retinal cells, it is occurrence of retinoblastoma. It results in the occurrence of retinoblastoma. So, it first hit makes a child predisposed to the retinoblastoma formation. Second hit in the somatic retinal cells resulting in the formation of retinoblastoma. So, these two hits should occur for the child to develop or the child to have the tendency to develop retinoblastoma. So, this Knutson's two-hit oncogenesis word is very important. And in case if it is sporadic, so because if it is familial, then you can suspect the first hit in the germline mutation. But when it is sporadic means both the hits will be, both the two hits will be on somatic retinal cells. And this may occur at any age, like any point of time in the lifetime, they may have both the hits in sporadic cases. Whereas in hereditary or the familial cases, the first hit would have occurred in utero itself, and second hit will be occurring within first year of life. So, this is regarding the genetics of retinoblastoma.